So, welcome to this web event on Xero Basics and Making Tax Digital. I'm going to give you an overview of Xero and what Making Tax Digital is and how it's going to impact your business going forward. Now, obviously, Russell & Russell, we are Xero partners and we are certified for Making Tax Digital ready. So we're ready to help our clients move to Xero and make sure they're compliant for Making Tax Digital. So first up, what is Making Tax Digital? I think it was back in 2015 that George Osborne announced the death of the tax return. He said it was going to make it easier for taxpayers and that books and records had to be kept digitally. Now, instead of doing one tax return, effectively what you're going to have to do is 4 quarterly updates and 1 tax return. So effectively 5 tax returns. So I'm not sure how much easier that's going to be for people, but it's going to be a lot more reporting, and you have to make sure your books and records are up to date. You need to file it online through HMRC's portal. So the software will actually interact directly with HMRC's portal. You won't be able to go in and key in your figures like you can at the moment when you do your VAT returns. And the revenue estimate this will be save them £9 billion. Now they think there's been errors where people put the wrong codes in or they put the numbers the wrong way, transposition errors, and they think overall that's the total loss of their revenue is £9 billion, and it's going to save them that amount by filing through the software directly. So timeline-wise, Making Tax Digital for VAT is for all VAT registered businesses who have a turnover of more than £85,000. And it's for VAT periods starting from the 1st of April 2019. So if you're monthly VAT returns, your 30th April VAT return will be the first VAT return that you need to do. If you're on quarterly, it will be the VAT return ended 30th of June, and subsequent VAT returns that are the ones that are going to be impacted. Now, Making Tax Digital for all businesses is meant to come in from April 2020, but they've been talking about pushing that back, and it's never really been confirmed. So we're still kind of waiting to see where that lands, but that'll be all businesses, whether you're VAT registered or not, and it even includes landlords who have more than £10,000 of rental income. Now, £10,000, if you've got a flat in a city centre, then that's 800 odd quid a month. So it's not a huge amount, and there'll be a lot of landlords, I think, will be caught out by this. So, has to be directly submitted through the software, therefore no more spreadsheets. You can still find bridging software, so you need to bridge what's in your spreadsheet and HMRC's portal, and as we submitted through that software, you can't manually input things. But I think that is possibly causing more issues, and I think there's a simpler way to do it by making sure you're on the right system, either looking at something like Xero or Sage. So we tend to prefer to go for Xero for most new business, but it depends on what business you've got and what the requirements are. And so sitting down and having that chat with your accountant to see which one is the best fit for yourself. Xero is cloud-based compared to desktop for Sage, so it means you can access it anywhere, which is a huge plus for us. Xero is Making Tax Digital compliant. It gets updated. There's over 2,000 updates last year for Xero, and so whenever you log in, you're always on the latest version. Sage releases a version every year, and then within that, there's updates on an ongoing basis, and only their latest version is compliant. So we've seen that the cost for that has gone up as well. The clients who in the past were paying £25 a month are now being quoted £125 a month for Sage to keep them on the latest version. Xero is a flat fee of £20 a month for the standard package, and there's add-ons to it depending on what you need, if you need payroll, etc., etc. Xero has direct bank feeds. So what that means is your bank interacts directly with Xero and pushes through all the transactions up to date, up to yesterday's date. So when you go in, you've got near real-time information. Now, at the moment, some banks aren't on the direct bank feeds, but with open banking, Xero have registered with the FCA, and so they will have access to all bank feeds going forward. Sage, on the other hand, they have a third-party feed for version 22 and above, and they use something called Yodlee, where you log in, put in your password, and it pulls information through. Now, Xero also has that for some of the smaller banks, but we've told people not to use that because you're giving away your password and your personal data, and therefore, although it is secure, if something ever did happen to it, you might not have a leg to stand on with the banks. So it's probably worth checking with your bank first whether or not they accept. They have any issues with you using Yodlee. Xero, for the non-accountants, we've got lots of clients who have never used accounting software before, and after a morning session with them, they're up and running. It's very easy to use, non-technical, non-jargon language, whereas Sage can be a bit techy, and analysing and finding your way about can be a bit difficult. Xero should save you time, and I'll show you that. And Sage can be labour intensive, not always. And again, it's getting the right fit for your business. And again, Xero, and it's cloud-based, we can have access and we can log in. Sage, sometimes you need to send us a backup. Sometimes you've got the accountant link if you're in different versions, or you put an update in that, or we put an update on our system that you've not on yours, then it can be access issues there. We can't necessarily send you a backup back, send you adjustments you have to put in. Whereas we make any adjustments in Xero, you refresh your screen, and we're ready to go. So, without further ado, I'll have a quick look at Xero, and we can see what there is. So, let me just change over. So, this is the screen that you see when you log into Xero. Now, we've got company name at the top. If I click on that, got various different settings down here. We'll drill into that, but I won't cover that in this one. We've got the dashboard, which is where we are. Business, we've got, sorry, I clicked on that there. Business, we've got invoices, quotes, and a sales overview. Same for purchases, and then expenses as well. Accounting, we've got the bank accounts, reports. There's my stars reports, these are my favorites, so they automatically show up and I can add to this list. And then some advanced, some nice features in here, but they're going to be a subject of later web events. Payroll, if you've got payroll, you can run that through and it automatically processes everything into Xero for you. Projects, again, you can manage projects on here, and then we've got contacts at the end. Now, what we're focused on today is this dashboard screen and putting through invoices for sales, paying a purchase invoice, and reconciling the bank. So, top of the screen as well, you'll notice they've got this wee video. So, on most of the pages, there's wee quick links to Xero for help. If you're unsure to do something, you can go there. Or there's this help button at the top, and again, it's got automatically brings up things for the Xero dashboard, takes you to the help center, or you can contact yourself or contact Xero support. So, on the business bank account, I've got 28 items to reconcile, so it's really easy when I log in to see where I am and how up to date my information is. Hopefully, that should be down at zero if you're keeping on top of it, and you can do that on a daily basis. The balance in Xero is what the balance is that I've matched in Xero, and the statement balance is the balance per my bank statement. So in this case, it's got up to the 22nd of January. This is a demo company, so that's why it's lagging a bit. But it really should, if you're a direct bank page, it's bringing up to yesterday's transactions. We've got another bank account in here, and I'm going to import some transactions into there and show you how that works. And then we've got a sort of wee mini cash flow at the bottom. What's coming in, what's going out, and what my difference is. So again, we can see we've got a bit more outgoings this month. We need to start selling a bit more, and we need to watch our cash flow, and you can see where you are with that quite easily. Accounts watch list, any of the chart accounts, any of the accounts codes that you want to track and monitor, you can have placed on your dashboard. So you can see it as soon as you log in the morning. So, for example, advertising and marketing, £2,083 this month. I'm not sure what that is. So, if I click onto that, anything that's in that kind of blue hyperlink, you can drill down into it. Okay, it's just, let me have a look at this in more detail, drill down into it, and you can see that the invoice that relates to. So if I go back to the dashboard, I'll come on to the purchases instead. Later on, we'll do a bit more on that. We've got invoices owed to you. Now, We can create a new sales invoice from here, but I can also see that we've got 2 draft invoices. Why have they not been issued? Do I need to go and approve them? I've got 11 awaiting payment, I've got 10 overdue. Okay, well, there's 10 that I need to chase up. So I can go through and chase them up. And obviously, making sure my bank is reconciled first so that I'm not chasing someone that's already paid. Bills you need to pay, again, not technical language, really simple, really easy to understand. Again, we've got the same draft bills, waiting payment, overdue, and we can create a new bill from here. So, have a quick look at the sales invoices. I can create a new sales invoice from here. I can go to business and invoices, or on any screen without Xero, this little plus icons at the top for create new, and there's various options. So in this case, I'm going to create a new invoice. So this invoice is going to be to Jacaranda Maple Systems. So I can start typing in anything, and this one's not picking up. This client's a new client, so you can put that in. Now in Sage, what you'd have to do is you have to go back, set up that client, and then go back into the bill and do it. This one I can just add as a new client straight away. Now the invoice date I'm putting on here is the 10th of January 19. Due date, I can put in +14 and it automatically calculates the due date. Now in both these, it's also got the drop down that I can choose which date I want it to be on. So actually, we'll change that to the 9th and we'll leave it towards the 24th. Automatically creates the invoice date and puts in invoice reference, sorry. The reference might be their purchase order number, so I want to put in purchase order 201. And then branding, you have different types of branding for different types of invoices. In this case, I'm going to leave it as standard, but I'll show you what that looks like. Now, this one is deposit in advance. Put the quantity in. And this is £2,000 sales, and that's it. It's automatically calculated that. I can set it up here as tax inclusive or tax exclusive. So inclusive, £2,000 total, exclusive, £2,000 plus that. In this case, it's tax inclusive. And I'm going to approve that invoice. And that's it. That invoice is created on my system and it's ready to be sent out to the client. You're not creating something in Word to resend or and then put in double posting. Now, I can email it from here. I can PDF it, or I can edit the invoice if I want to change things and share it. Now, if I press print PDF, just to give you an idea as to what it looks like. This is where the because I'm on Zoom, it's going a bit slower. So invoices PDF down here. Give it a second to open it up. Should know it's not normally slow. I think it's because I'm on Zoom as well as everything else. So there's the invoice. Now I can put in more details. I can put in the logo. I can change the layer of this as well. And you see here, you can even add payment methods: PayPal, Visa, MasterCard. You can take Stripe payments, online card payments. There's lots of different things you can do to help you get paid quicker and improve your cash flow through Xero, including setting up automatic reminders. So yeah, quite a professional looking invoice. Got something there to help you get paid quicker, and you can send your statements as well, and you can format it and put whatever logo you want. So, as I said, you have different branding options as well. So, if I want to edit that invoice, I could go back, change the branding theme, and say, actually, instead of that, send it with the very orange invoice. Update. And sorry, this is a preview as to, so I can put in contact details when I'm emailing it. Got the placeholders in here so it automatically sends it, but you can put contacts and put the person's email into their contacts, so it automatically creates that. If I do the print PDF again and look at the different branding, then as you can see, this is a very orange invoice. So lots of different things you can do there with invoicing. If I go to create another new sales invoice, if you're doing lots of invoices, so in this invoice, I'm going to type in Rex Media Group. It picks up the name automatically. Again, put today's date, we say plus 30 days for them. If I'm invoicing something regularly, I can set up as an item so that it automatically pre-populates them. So in this case, we're going to put that book in and it pre-populates everything. Now, you can also put in big golf balls, like that. We can change the quantity easily enough to 5 lots, and it flows through. And again, I can approve that. Now, I can also approve and add another, approve and view next, approve and print, or I can save it as draft, submit for approval. Now, this depends on your access rights. I've got access to everything at the moment, but you could have someone who just does the sales processing and only can take it to draft, so they can't actually send it to a client, and then it goes in for your approval. So again, help for reducing your workload. In this case, I'm just going to approve this invoice and move on to the next section. So now what we'll do is we'll go to the businesses, and I'll show you how to get the bills to pay. So again, I can do it from the plus sign at the top, but just showing you a different way of doing things. Now this shows me all my bills, again for drafts, waiting approval, waiting payment. I can do that, and it shows me who's due to be paid and what their due date is. As you can see, the red ones are highlighted because they are overdue. I can even set up a repeating invoice. So if I go to repeating, then I look at Xero, for example. I know I'm going to get billed the same amount every month from them. Then every month on this date, I can set a due date of either the bill date or after the bill date, or at the end of the month or whatever it is. I'm going to be paying this amount. It's going to be whatever it is to your solution. Now, 56.35. They must have a few add-ons, but the project's payroll wants it from users. £20 is the flat payment for that, for the standard. So it means it just automatically puts that invoice in if it's something that's recurring, rather than you have to create it every time. So if I go to new bill and show you what that looks like, then it is exactly the same as the sales. So again, I can put in company's name and put in what I need to pay them. In this case, for February in advance, £900, and I'm getting charged for it. And again, I can approve that. Now, there is another way to invoice or add bills like this. And if I go back to the purchase overview, I'll show you this. And again, it allows you not only to put the invoice in a bit quicker, but also to retain your records online on Xero rather than having paper files everywhere. So I go to see all. We've got create bill from email. Now, if I click on that, it gives me my own personal email address for this company that I can send invoices to. So I have set up, copy that invoice in here. Now, what I need to do then is I'm going to put this invoice in. So I drag and drop it and attach it to that email and send it on to Xero. I go back into Xero and refresh the page. Take a couple of seconds just to come through. So I will put the right email address in. I sent other ones, I'm going to put the wrong email address. There's Xero files as well. So the two of them. So there's a draft bill come through. So if I click on that, then some details were automatically entered. So for the PDF of the invoice that I attached in that email. Now this is early stages for Xero, but this is only going to get better as we go on. So as you can see, it's not picked up the contact name at the moment. So I want to change that to say Russell and Russell. 14th of January, let's pick that up from the invoice. Due date, and let's leave that as same date. Invoice reference, again, it's not picked that up, but going forward, it should get better and better. It should pick up that e-note number. So I'm going to put that in. And then this is this is one of the events that we run regularly, and it has picked up the total unit price from here, but it's not picked up quite what I want. It's just two places at £147. I'm going to put the accountancy fees at the moment, and the VAT's 20%, but I want to do tax exclusive. So at the top I've got 3,280 is what they've picked up in the bill, and the total is right. Now I'm going to approve that invoice. And that puts in. As you go forward, the more you put in, it should start to pick up. Okay, that's Russell and Russell. That's we posted that to accountancy fees in the past. They are tax exclusive, tax inclusive, all these sort of things, and it will start to code that automatically with machine learning. Now, on this invoice now, you can see this wee file icon. It's got a picture beside it. That is a picture of the invoice that we sent on. So it's automatically extracted that, saved it to that record, and that's compliant for HMRC. So it's attached there. And again, it means, from our point of view, as your accountant, it comes to the year end, rather than asking you to dig out an invoice from maybe 15 months ago, we can go into the system and review that bill straight away. If I go to settings and files in here, then again, I can see what's all from one inbox has been sent in there as well. And from here, again, I can create a bill directly and attach it to that bill. But I'm going to move on to the bank reconciliation now and go back to the dashboard. So if I go to the business savings account, now I've not got a direct bank feed for this account, so I am going to import a statement. So what will happen is normally if you import you download your bank into a CSV format, it will come through something like this. Now Xero doesn't like this because it's in different columns, and if you download a QuIF file, then it will automatically import it. But in this, you need to do a bit of work. So what I've done is I have changed them about, and I can just roughly show you what to do here. Effectively, what you say is equals that minus that, so it's showing you the net effect. Is that a positive or a minus? You can fill that down. But obviously that's a formula, and it doesn't like formulas too much when you're using these, so you need to paste special, and then what I just do is delete those rows. Now, I've rushed through that there. It's a bit convoluted, but you've got direct bank feeds, you don't have to worry about this. But what it does allow you to do is, if I go to that file, once it's been saved as the CSV, then I can choose that for import. I can press import, and at that point it will ask me to code up the headings of the lines. So I'm happy that's the transaction date. This is the transaction type. That's my sort code, so I'm going to leave that out. That's the account number, I don't want that. This is my description, and this is the transaction amount. So once I'm happy with it, this is how it's shown in Xero. I can press save. That's 382 lines have automatically been posted into the bank. If you think how long it would take you to manually input those into the Sage, then that's a huge time saving. Now you've still got to code them and allocate them, but again, there are some rules here that we can set up. So for example, pay-ins, I'm going to, in this case, I'm just going to create a bank rule. So receive money rule, where you can choose all or any input, different criteria, but I'm going to say where any text fields contains the words pay in, then I'm going to say it's a sale. Now, it's not necessarily the case, we could be matching it to sales invoices, but just for the sake of this example, choose this. So if I press save there, I go back to my bank reconciliation, it's going to ask me, it's going to pick up the fact that this is a pay-in, and do I want to apply the rule to that? So, do I want to apply the rule? Yep. Take that off, take that off, take that off. And so you see how easy it is to reconcile on that basis. Now again, here I've got different employee and different costs like that. What I can actually do is go to my cash coding. And again, depending on your user rights and everything like that, depends on where you are. So if I sort by description, then it might be that all these employee expenses I want to put to wages. Now, there's quite a lot of transactions there, so coding that up automatically would be quite a lot of work. If I just type that in there, it automatically codes up all those transactions. Save and reconcile selected. Again, it's taking a wee bit longer than usual just with the Zoom call, but that's 59 items coded and processed to the right place automatically. So huge time savings to be had if you need to use the cash coding function. But what I'll show you is the other bank account. So if I go, and I access it through there, or if I go back to my dashboard, and we've got the reconcile 28 items, then if I click on that, I've got these transactions to reconcile. Now again, Xero is quite clever, and in this case, this is the money I'm going out, trucks and property management for rent. You can see an invoice for that amount, and it's saying these look like they match. Is that correct? Yeah. Money coming in from Ridgeway, invoice 0035, got the same amount here. Yeah, that's fine. Now in this case, if you're not sure what it is, you can leave a note in the discuss button. So you can actually go into discuss, leave a note for us, and we can go and process it. Now in this case, we don't have the invoice, so I'm just going to put it to travel for city limousines. Account to travel, and again, we'll start to remember these. So, and match that. Here's the invoice that we put in earlier. So it's saying, here's the payment coming in, here's the invoice that we created. I can match that off. Now, it's not always that simple. Smart Agency isn't matching off here automatically. I know that we've actually invoiced Smart Agency for £4,500. So if I go to find there and type in Smart, then Here's what's happened. Because we've invoiced them separately, two amounts. So if I scroll down just to show you what this looks like, total is out by 4,500 at the moment. If I click on that, it's only like 2.5. If I click on that, brilliant, it's gone green, it's matched off, and I can press OK and reconcile that. Now, here's where it's auto selected. I've also posted something individually before, so it's saying this looks like bank fees, is that right? Yep, and again, we can turn off that auto suggest at the bottom there, but I've left it on for this case. And then there's a bank rule set up already for this, so I can match that. So as you can see, whistle stop tour, but I've managed to reconcile quite a number of transactions there in quite a short period of time. So that was a very quick view of what's in Xero at the moment, just with regards to how to get started in processing. Future web events, we're going to look at other features in Xero. So we're going to look at the payroll in more depth, look at the projects, stock, fixed assets, and we're even going to look at some of the apps and add-ons. So for example, there, that email to bills that Xero built in, there's other purchase invoices that have that as well. So there's things like Receipt Bank, Data Molino, which have that functionality and extract that. Expenses, again, Receipt Bank, you can take a photo on your phone and it automatically extracts that information for you. There's cards like Clio and Soldo where you put money into a charge card, your employees can go and use it, and as soon as they make an expense, it pops up on their phone that they've bought something with the card and prompts them to take a photo. So making expenses a lot easier. And then mileage as well. A lot of apps out there like MileIQ and TripCatcher who actually track your GPS in your phone and you can choose what the usage of that mileage was. Was it personal? Was it business? And allocate to the clients. And we're also going to look at reporting in Xero. So that'll be over the next 12 months. We're going to build up the number of web events and the number of videos on these topics. So that's a very quick run through. But if there's any questions that anyone has, then obviously delighted to answer them now. And otherwise, I think that's us. If you bought a ticket for good and donated a year's worth of life-saving water, then thank you very much for that. Together we're making a real change, and we're absolutely delighted to be working with E121 to help make an impact in people's lives. And finally, this is our website and email address and phone number. If you've got any questions afterwards, then I'll be